Hi, I'm Joseph Rains. I grew up in a trailer as a kid. Um, Never really had a lot of attention from my parents, so I was left to my own devices. Uh, Ended up running around with the wrong crowd, selling drugs for a big portion of my childhood up until I was about 21 when I went to prison. Uh, Spent 5 years in prison. Uh, just was really lost during those years. Coming up, I started when I got out of prison selling more drugs, and to the point where um, I started doing the drugs that I was selling, and it caused a lot of problems in and out of rehabs, um, just struggling. I got to a point in my life where I couldn't stay out of jail, prison, rehab. Um, I caused a lot of problems for my kids, my wives, um, all my friends. Life was a big struggle. Um, I just didn't really ever in my life have any real direction. And so I just kept doing that process for many, many years. So from the age of 15 to the age of 43 or 44, that whole time, that's all I did was drugs and selling drugs and just being well, as the judge told me, a cancer to society. Um, I ended up getting to a point where I was on a start over for like the 20th time, losing everything, getting everything back, and I lost everything one more time, and I ended up in a trailer with my mother in the smallest room you ever seen, and contemplating suicide. So that was probably the lowest point in my life. Well, absolutely was the lowest point in my life. And the only thing that stopped me from blowing my brains out was the fact that I didn't want my mother to clean up the mess. And after that had happened, my uncle had stopped over at my mom's house, and he wanted to take me to his house and just hang out. And so I went with him. And when we was sitting at his house, he left the room and come back with a Bible, and he said, "May I read you something?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course." And so at this point, I had never believed in God. I thought it was just a light switch went off and that was it. We was done. And I never put any thought into God, Jesus, none of it. And he read me a passage in the Bible. Well, here, I'll say this. Um, all the treatments I did, I could stay clean for a little while, but I could never stick with it, you know. I, uh, I just always fell back. And so my uncle had opened the Bible, read this verse to me, and something, I felt it inside when he read it to me that was pretty powerful, to the point where I looked at him and said, "I think I found something I want to try that I've never done before, and see how this does." And so I had called a friend, telling him my situation about my suicidal thoughts, my uncle reading this passage in the Bible, and just all this weird emotions going on with me at the time. And I told him I wanted to give life one more try. I just was, I wanted to give it one more try before I decided I was done with it. And so I went to a rehab place here in Xenia, and they had offered schooling in a faith-based program, and that was right up my alley. So they allowed me to pick what schooling I wanted to do. They had a faith-based program that was at the homeless shelter that I work at now. Um, so being here at Bridges, I started doing the faith-based program through Emerge, and they had they had grown on me here, right? Taking all the faith-based classes, and I got real close with the pastors and everybody that come through this building, and they had offered me a job here, and so I was wrapping up my classes, working at the shelter, and I had no idea that the shelter was going to be my calling. I was going to school to be a drug counselor, and it kind of veered me in another direction to work with homeless people and help them get back on their feet. And all this time, I'm going to Bible studies, like 2 or 3 of them a week. I'm going to church once or twice a week. I hang out with all the pastors. Uh, my whole group of people that I hung out with from my past are gone, and I started surrounding myself with people that were, really doing things in their lives. Um, uh, even the mayor's a friend of mine, which is just crazy to think about. But it's all because of Jesus, right? I found Jesus, or Jesus found me. I got saved. Um, I got baptized, and I work with the most wonderful group of people that you could ever work with, because all of us we have the same goal, and that's to help people. So we minister people all day, every day. You can ask everybody that at my job, I should live here because I never leave. I just like helping everybody, and if it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. And I'm so grateful for the pain that he went through for my sins and all of our sins, past, present, and future, because it means a lot to me. Being able to move forward and having known that the things that I've done in the past are okay. I mean, that they're forgiven, and I got to work towards being a better follower of Jesus, and that in itself will bring joy to my life, and it has already. I've got a degree. I got. Uh, I've been able to purchase a couple cars in a short amount of time. I've made friends with some people that are really about their stuff, and they've helped bring me up to be able to help bring others up. And so here's where I'm at, and things definitely get better. You know, they definitely get better. Um, the only thing that I can say is if it's not for Jesus, I would not be here.